And I went on Twitter and I started seeing all these tweets come in and all these messages and all this other shit. And I was just like, what the fuck have I gotten myself into? My friend was visiting me from out of town and like we walked around and then I get back to my apartment and there are like all these photographers outside of it. And I was like, how self-centered would that be to think that they're here for me? And like we laughed about it.
How many photographers?
Like 5 or 6.
5 or 6 photographers?
Camped out on my doorstep.
Just like sitting down on the curb?
Just standing in the street. Waiting for me.
Just like cameras around?
Yeah. Waiting for me to get home. And so I just like agreed to do interviews because I thought it'd be like, people have jobs to do, I'm not gonna be a bitch for no reason. I didn't think it would be as rough as it was. Basically, I didn't see there being much of a point for it being as rough and terrible as it is, but like I guess someone needed a scapegoat and like they needed to sell papers and they needed a story and they needed someone to like hate on, so that's what happened. And the next morning, I roll out of bed, I hear like, it's like 10:30 and I hear like buzzer go off and I'm just like, who the fuck is at my door? I roll out of bed and there's the fucking post again, holding my paper in my face and I'm just like, what? I'm like, this picture sucks, wow. Like, yeah, like when they staked out my apartment, like the guy had his car parked outside of my apartment like all day and was like hanging out, waiting for me to get home to take more pictures. And he like walked down the street with me and like asked me to like go into my apartment and like pick out something flashier to wear. And it's like, I have a Louis Vuitton bag, that's about it. Is that flashy enough for you? And he's just like, oh, that's not necessary. I'm like, there's a mulberry store on the street. We could take pictures out in front of there or something. And he's like, perfect. So he like tells me to take all these pictures and we're done with it. And he's like, yeah, like my editors are really on my ass about this because like, you think it might make the front page. And I'm just like.
So did he ask you about the camera?
Yeah, multiple times. And I wasn't gonna say no. I'm not gonna be a bitch and be like, this poor guy has been staking out my apartment all day trying to get pictures of me. Like, what was I gonna do? Am I not gonna cooperate? Like, that's like diva behavior. I'm not famous enough to warrant diva behavior like that. Like, I'm not Mariah Carey. I can't, like, have my people go and tell them to leave. Like, I don't have people. Like, the next day when they came into my apartment, they asked me to slip it off again. I was just kind of like, okay. And they were asking me, and they, like, baited me. They baited me. Like, they were talking to me in between shots, and, like, they seemed like they were being nice, and they, like, thought I was, like, a nice enough kid, but, like, they obviously needed to, like, have a story. So I like wasn't gonna like interfere with that match. I thought like, who am I to interfere with the media? People shouldn't judge each other unnecessarily for the money they do or don't have. Is basically how I would define it up in one sentence. They don't need to go out of their way to make other people feel bad about it.